because it might be cheap or it might be counterfeit, that could mean that you're at a greater risk because you're not expecting there to be a danger with that product.
Hello and welcome to the Cost of Living newscast from Kent County Council. In this episode, our journalist Elizabeth Matsangu is speaking to Trading Standards Operations Manager Jim Widdett about electrical safety and how to avoid the dangers of counterfeit goods. For more advice and tips, click the subscribe button below, follow Kent County Council's public protection or business advice accounts on social media, or sign up to receive scam alerts or business bulletins by email. Links below.
What new risks do you think the cost of living crisis brings with it for product and electrical safety?
The issue with cost of living for electrical goods is going to be that consumers are going to try and find products that they either need or want at a cheaper price. And as soon as people start doing this and exploring different marketplaces that they might not be used to, they might well find products that they're not used to or that have been destined for another country. And it also, in those marketplaces, people might well stumble across counterfeit goods. And if you've got counterfeit goods, then they're not going to have gone through the same safety precautions that a genuine product will have. So therefore, the consumer might think that they're getting a bargain for their money, and in actual fact, they could be putting themselves more at risk, even if it's a brand that they know and understand. With the increase in online markets, people don't tend to be able to see the products that they're purchasing anymore. So previously, you would go to your local high street or retail sector, and you could see the goods, you could pick them up, you could inspect them, for want of a better phrase. Is it the right TV for you or electrical item or whatever it is? And now, because it's online, you're actually paying your money before you've actually seen the goods. You'll see a photograph of it online. You might see somebody demonstrating it, but it might well be that the goods that you finally receive won't be exactly what you've seen online. And then if it is through a distance mechanism that you've purchased those items, how are you going to get a refund? Is the retailer in the UK? Can you go back to somebody? Can you follow up with them to actually try and get the right product or return your product? And as more people turn to cheaper options, they might go away from well-known reputable online marketplaces to cheaper options which don't have the same safeguards in place for consumers. Consumers need to be aware of the requirements for electrical products. So on any packaging that you would have, you should be seeing the CE mark, which most people are aware of and are used to seeing. You can also now see or find the UK CA mark, which is the UK alternative to the CE mark. On the packaging, there should also be the importer or the manufacturer in the UK or the EU. That should be appearing on the product as well. That's important because if there isn't anybody that you can write to or contact, if you experience a problem, then you won't be able to chase it up or get support. So that's important on the box. And then actually when you open up the item, you should be looking at the instructions that you've got. If the instructions that you have don't make sense, if you can't read them, they're not legible, then you've really got to wonder how can you use the product safely? And if those instructions aren't correct, what kind of confidence can you have in the product?
What types of products pose serious risks?
It's very difficult to actually say what's going to provide a serious risk because you could have a good quality item that actually has an inherent risk. So if we just think about this for kitchen appliances, you could have a blender that's got a risk because it's got spinning blades. But if that product is well made with safety precautions built into it, the consumer isn't going to harm themselves whilst using it. You could then have something that looks like quite a simple product, say a small toy or an electrical device that's got an inbuilt battery in it. And depending on how it's charged, that could then make that product dangerous, especially if it's a counterfeit item or if it's a very cheap item that's been poorly manufactured, then something that looks fairly inert and safe, because if it's got, say, a lithium-ion battery in it that becomes unstable, that then becomes dangerous. And because it might be cheap or it might be counterfeit, that could mean that you're at a greater risk because you're not expecting there to be a danger with that product.
Should consumers be wary of online marketplaces?
There are some times when any of us can get caught online and purchase a product that we thought was good, and when it turns up in the post, it's not what we thought it was. So there is a risk but that risk has to be moderated in line with what it is you're buying. So the bigger the purchase, the more checks you should maybe do. The trouble sometimes with online reviews is have they actually been validated? Are they genuine reviews? There's been a lot of information in the press around people on social media platforms where they're reviewing a product and it's not clear that they're actually being sponsored to review that. So is it actually a genuine product? You're more likely to find those with a wider demographic, so people from different age ranges, backgrounds, who are providing information about a product. They might well be better because you've got a bigger cross section of the audience to consider. So it is difficult for a consumer to deal with online reviews because again, you're buying something remotely. You don't know the people who are actually reviewing it, so it's really, you've got to be a little bit more buyer beware. And if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. So one of the key things that consumers should be looking out for if they're buying online, and if they're slightly worried about it, is if you start seeing information about having a UK adapter as a plug. So what I've got here is an example of an item that's been supplied as a UK adapter. Now, the first thing to see is that the earth-in pin here is plastic. If it's plastic, it can't actually do the job it's intended to, because plastic obviously doesn't allow any kind of transmitting of current or of the earth. So if you get one of these turn up with a product that says it's now got a UK compliant plug, that's an issue. Now, this plug, hopefully you can see here, but on the live and the neutral pins, they should be different colors as they are here. So the bottom half is insulated and the top half is the metal. That's correct. If you've got a plug that doesn't appear like this, then you've got a problem. Now, normally these plugs are supplied when you have a 2-pin plug that is actually attached to the appliance that you've just purchased. If you receive a plug like this, which has got the holes here for the 2-pin plug to go into, this one is dangerous. There should be shutters that go across here. There aren't, which means you have live access to the live and the neutral if this was plugged into a socket. That shouldn't happen. So when you're looking at an online product that maybe appears cheaper, if it talks about having a UK compliant plug, you should really be looking for a plug that is completely molded and the cable is going directly into it, rather than one that is plugged in by you as the consumer. In the UK, there's only really 2 limited circumstances when you would have a product with 2 pins, and that would be an electric toothbrush and an electric shaver, because in your bathroom you might well have a 2-pin socket.
We can't take action without your reports. We need everyone who comes across them to speak up and report scams and criminals. Even if you've seen a scam many times before, your reporting can help us target our resources and warn and protect others. If you have information on doorstep criminals, counterfeit, fake or illegal goods, illicit tobacco, loan sharks or underage sales, contact the charity Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. You'll stay 100% anonymous, always. To report scams and get advice on consumer issues, call the Citizens Advice Consumer Helpline on 0808 223 1133. Thank you for helping us protect Kent from scammers and criminals.